I am Smita Nandi, Assistant Professor, Graduate College, Kulhan University. This is my second lecture on the topic What is News for the UG SEM 3 students of GE. Children, in my previous lecture, I had talked about news. Now, in this lecture, I am going to talk about the various factors that qualify an event to be a news story. Now, the first factor which qualifies an event to be a news story is timeliness or freshness. So first I am writing it down, timeliness or freshness. Now what does this mean? Now time factor plays a very important role in the effectiveness of a news story. Nobody likes to read an outdated story even if it is very important. News is just like a perishable commodity having a very short life. We can accommodate a pastime story in literature, drama, feature, etc., but it does not work in news. So journalism's famous slogan is that today's news is today. Now children, I'm going to discuss about the next factor which qualifies an event to be a news story. So my next factor coming up, the second is proximity or nearness. Now the importance of a news greatly depends on the place of its origin. Proximity in journalism does not only refer to geographical nearness but interest of nearness as well. So here we come up with this term geographical nearness. So for a news to be newsworthy, it has to have geographical nearness. Now we come up with our third factor making a news newsworthy. So the third factor here is prominence. Readers have interest in names of persons with whom they are familiar. The bigger the personality involved in the event, the greater its news values. Stories of film stars, players, politicians, philosophers and poets, etc. have greater news value. Now obviously you would like to hear about Sachin Tendulkar or Virat Kohli or Deepika Padukone. So people who are prominent are definitely more newsworthy. Now we come up with the fourth factor. The fourth factor is magnitude. The event relating to greater loss of life, damage or natural disaster creates interest for the readers. For example, a story of fire resulting in the death of one person will have less impact than the story of fire resulting in the death of 100 people. So now obviously everybody is interested in knowing about COVID-19 because it is having a massive impact on humanity. It is a pandemic, so magnitude definitely affects an event and making it a news story. Now we move on to the fifth factor. The fifth factor is conflict. Now, everybody takes interest in confrontation among people, nations, and groups. The highest form of conflict is war, and no war story fails to create interest for the readers. So basically, it is human nature to be interested in some kind of a conflict or confrontation, and it definitely makes it interesting for the readers to read about any kind of conflict. The next factor about newsworthiness of a news is oddity, or you can also call it unusualness. Now, any event which is odd, which is something which is not normal, unusual, makes it to the headlines. Suppose a dog bites a common man. This is nothing unusual, but if you hear about a man biting a dog, it may make the news more newsworthy, or it is definitely out of the ordinary. So anything which is unusual makes it to the news. Now, the next factor is, that is the seventh factor, is relevance. Now, events are supposed to be more newsworthy when they involve an issue that is at the top of the mind of the public. That means which is relevant to the mindset of the people, or what the people are thinking about. Now we get back to the eighth factor, which is the last one here. The eighth factor is human interest. Now, people want to read stories about other people, so a human interest angle can be especially useful in helping one put a human face on a bigger story that needs to be personalized. So always make your stories interesting and personalized to make it newsworthy. So that's all in my video today. In my next video for the GE3 students, I will be talking about the difference between news and information, which is the next topic in your syllabus. So bye for today.